Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. On this episode, I'm going to get an off-road Y-Pipe installed on the 1LE Camaro, and I'm going to do a quick update on the C10 bed, which haven't got a lot done since the last video, but just show you the progress on that anyway. So without further ado, we will get into this, but first, a word from our sponsor. And that sponsor would be me, so I can say whatever I want. So I'd just like to take a minute and ask everyone that watches the channel and watches the videos, if you guys like the channel, like the videos, I sure would appreciate it if you subscribe and maybe hit the like button on the videos. Trying to get the channel monetized, and the subscriber count is slowly ticking up there, but it's a long process, and it sure would be nice to be able to get paid for doing some of the work I do here. Not gonna be able to quit the day job anytime soon, unfortunately, but hey, you know, maybe in time, be able to actually make some decent money off the channel and start putting together some cool builds for the channel for more content. So, you know, just a thought, you guys. Any help just clicking those buttons really quick would be appreciated. So let's get back into this video and I will show you guys the head pipe, off-road Y-Pipe, whatever you guys want to call it, that I ordered for the 1LE Camaro that will be the permanent addition to it. And I don't know if it's just my luck or it's just by chance that I had another problem, but yeah, I had another little small issue with the exhaust I ordered, and I'll get into that in just a minute as well. And I know screw-ups happen, you know, but it just seems like two screw-ups back to back, that could be a problem, and I might have to source my parts elsewhere in the future. So I don't know if it's just me that's having the problem with Texas Speed lately, or they just don't like me, but I ordered an off-road Y-Pipe for the 1LE, and for those of you who don't know what an off-road Y-Pipe is, it's basically from the headers down to the mid-pipe. It's a Y-Pipe, and off-road use, it does not have catalytic converters. So had this sitting around for a couple days before I opened it, and I was like, well, okay, let's get this done. So I opened it up, and what do I find? Well, there's the Y-Pipe part, which, okay, it's good. And then I grabbed one of the other two sections. And what the fuck is that? That is not an off-road Y-Pipe. That is a catted Y-Pipe. On both sides. So I'm like, better double check my order. Well, I ordered the right part. I ordered a off-road Y-Pipe. And instead, they sent me the catted Y-Pipe. So, I really wanted this car to be as loud as possible, but I don't want to have to deal with the bullshit of sending it back to Texas Speed. Now, on top of that, after they screwed me over on the head gasket issue with the car, the fact that this is about a $400 loss to them, because the price difference between this and what I actually ordered is about $400 benefit to me. So I think I'm gonna say screw it. It's their fuck up. They can deal with it. I'm not even gonna give them a call and say you guys screwed up. So I'm gonna put these on the car, which I mean, it's not gonna be the sound I wanted, but I really don't want to have to deal with the hassle of sitting this back and getting the right part, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna raise the car up and get this installed. Okay, I've got the Y-Pipe on. It's roughly bolted in place. I'm gonna move it just a little bit, do a couple of modifications. First off, I did have to clearance the pipe a little bit right here. It was rubbing right here on the body. and also had to tuck this heat shield up just a little bit more. Had to do a slight bend in it so it didn't hit the converter pipe union right here. Right here, there's a little bit of touching. I'm gonna have to put a jack underneath the back and put it right height. This may clear, but I'm probably gonna have to clearance this pipe a little bit right here. Other than that, fits pretty good. The one thing I will say that I don't really care for is this merge right here. The merge on this end looks good. Inside looks good. I like how the pipe comes together. It's this side I don't care for. Right here is a 3-inch, and then it tapers down to 2.5, and I do not want that. So when I do my basically catback exhaust, I'm going to cut this off right here and do my union from this point, not this point. If I have to add a little bit of pipe to this, I will, to the catback system, not a big deal, but this is too restrictive in my opinion at 2.5 inch. The 3-inch is fine. Seeing as how close everything is here with the 3-inch, I'm kind of glad I decided to go away from the dual 3-inch, the true dual 3-inch, just because I just don't want to deal with vibration or any clearance issues, and I can already tell that that would kind of be a bitch if you were to run true duals on this car. I know many of you guys have done it in the past without issues. I just want to do something simpler and easier, so I'm going to go with this setup with a minimum 3-inch catback. I might actually change the merge completely, come up here and cut here, and then do a 3.5 inch back to where it splits to the dual tips out the back, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. But overall, the system fits good. The headers fit awesome. I don't have one complaint about the headers. The headers fit good. They are a little bit low for my taste as far as ground clearance right here, but they're not horrible. I mean, as you can see, they hang down about 1.5 inches below where the oil pan is. I personally like everything roughly oil pan level or up, but I know with long tubes that can be an issue with fitment, especially on certain cars. And seeing how much room there is between the body and right here, I don't really think these headers could have been tucked any higher. So where they're sitting is about as good as any header would sit, I would think, just because of the clearance issues. Plus, right here, it could have been tucked a little bit higher, but if you're using most of your aftermarket systems where this is a straight shot through here, clearing right here would be an issue. So yeah, you could tuck the headers up tighter if you were gonna do a complete custom exhaust where you could come and then drop down right here, which I've done on other vehicles. But as far as just a bolt-on exhaust, this is designed pretty well, I would have to say. So now the question remains what to do with the back half, and I'm pretty positive I'm gonna go with an SLP loudmouth back there. I've got one on the other Camaro, like how it sounds. So I've had a chance to run the exhaust on the 1LE Camaro for a couple heat cycles, and I'll show you guys what I did to the off-road Y-Pipe as far as kind of getting everything to fit, and what I'm gonna run for a couple weeks till I get the money to finish the exhaust out on the car. Still probably gonna go with street legal performance for the catback essentially system, but here we go. Well, here's the finished exhaust as it sits right now, and as you can see, after the heat cycles, it has changed color to kind of a goldish bronze, and that's actually good to me because that tells me that the pipe is actually stainless steel, because stainless steel normally does change that color after it has some heat in it. If it was just straight aluminized pipe, it would not change color and it would look like that dump I've got sitting out the back there. So that's always a good sign. Get what you pay for, or I should say, got what I ordered somewhat, except for the, those things right there. But anyway, everything turned out good. Definitely have good clearance here around. I did have to do a little bit of clearancing on the pipe right there. I did just kind of compress this down just a little bit to get that to clear. And now I know when the weight of the car is down, I realize this torque arm will move up a little bit, but still I like to have as much clearance as possible when doing things. Was able to get the small cross member back in. Everything clears just fine. And I will say that even with these mini cats in here, this is still extremely loud. So I think from this point forward, we're just gonna quit bitching about Texas Speed's second screw up, and that'll be the last you hear about it from me. And I told you I'd get into what bed modifications I've gotten done in the last day or two. I'll get into that tire in just a minute. That's the same, but now I've got this wheelhouse widened up, and I gotta say I'm really happy with how this turned out. This one turned out much better than that one. As far as this, I got sectioned and widened and kept everything very, very straight. I'm actually kind of happy and impressed with how straight I was able to get everything. So as long as when I weld it or do the finish welding on it, I don't get any warpage, this will turn out really nice. I still have to cut the bed floor where that gets widened, but I will do that as well. And again, for those of you guys that haven't seen the previous videos, this is the tire size I'm going to be using on the truck for the rear. These are 315/35 20s, and I just like the width that these are going to give the truck. They're, you know, roughly 12 inches wide. Could have gone wider, but I just don't really want to overdo it. So I think a 315 on the back of this is going to be about where I want to be. As far as the offset goes, when I have the wheels done, this is about where I wanted the tire to be. I want it to be just inside of flush from right here. So about a ½ inch in from the lip right here, maybe a little bit more. But where I ran into trouble was inside here. And as you can see now, I've got plenty of clearance after widening the wheelhouse to fit these tires. So if there's any side-to-side movement, there's over an inch there to clear. So these tires will now fit inside this bed with no problem. And I've started marking up the bed where there's flaws in it. The more and more I look, the more and more I have to circle because there's a lot of flaws in this sheet metal. As you can see, there's a spot weld from the factory, and there's quite a bit of work to do. It's kind of funny on these panels, they came from the same supplier, but they were boxed in 2 different boxes, so they're sourced differently. And it's kind of funny how one place where they came from, they actually did better finish work on this side than the other side. This side has a lot less spot weld marks in the bed than the other side. And again, got them both from Auto Metal Direct, but they were made at 2 different times. They were actually the exact same manufacturer now that I think about it, because I remember when I unboxed them. They were both made by the same company, but they must have been made at 2 different times because the stickers and the actual boxes were slightly different. So I must have got 2 different batch runs or something, but this side ended up being a lot better and needing a lot less work than this side. And unfortunately for me, the good bed side was the one that ended up having shipping damage. That was about the only shipping damage I could find when I unboxed this thing. But so other than the shipping damage, this side is actually very, very, very well done. Just occurred to me, I probably should just do a quick kind of walkthrough of the C10 to show you guys where it sits now. I don't know if I've done one of those recently, so just gonna kind of go over that. You'll have to excuse the mess. It is pretty dusty, but let's just go over it anyway. If you guys remember from the previous videos on the build here, as far as the chassis goes, it is pretty much finished. The only thing really left to do on the chassis is shocks, front and rear sway bars, drive shaft, and finish out the exhaust. Those are the big things. Oh, and run fuel lines from the motor to the tank. But most of the stuff is finished on it. That's the only big stuff pretty much left on that. And everything else is pretty much body and finish work that needs to be done. But I guess if you want to consider the radiator part of the chassis, I don't know. I guess depends on who you are. But I know what radiator I'm going to use, what cooling fans I'm going to use. I just need to get those ordered. And as you guys know, that's a pretty expensive purchase. The body cab specifically, still need to cut and polish this. It's been like 6 months since this was painted. So this is definitely hardened, and I'm definitely not scared to cut into this now and get it all buffed out. Now, remember I said in my previous video, you know, a lot of guys like to get these things buffed out within the first couple of days while the clear coat's soft, and I'm the opposite. I like the clear coat to harden up because I'm not as comfortable with doing a cut and buff on soft paint, that I like this to get nice and hard. Again, still have to do the drive shaft ordering and get the exhaust finished up. And the exhaust is actually finished too right there. I pretty much have to just do my muffler layout and build my tailpipes. And I'm still trying to decide what to do on that. I was thinking about doing a side exhaust where the tip is gonna come through the bed right here on both sides. I think I'm gonna go away from that and actually go tailpipes out the rear, but I still haven't decided. And where the metalwork on the bed is not finished yet, I still have a little bit of time to make my mind up on that. Did the fuel tank install videos in the past, Boyd fuel tank. Hopefully it turns out to be a great setup. This is my first time using their product, so we will wait and see how that turns out. And I know a lot of you are probably gonna give me a lot of flack for using the factory drum brakes on the rear of this, but let's just face it, Willwoods or Bear or any big brake rear conversion was just way out of the budget for me on this, so that's what I'm gonna have for the foreseeable future at least. And it's gonna be a while before I get to this interior, but I've got some things in my mind that I'm gonna do in the interior, especially back here, that I think a lot of you 2A fans are gonna love. So stay tuned for that. Because let's just face it, without the rear fuel tank going in right there, there's a whole bunch of space back there that's just wasted that could go to special purposes. It's far from being done, but you know, this is the progress so far. Maybe in my lifetime, it might actually get finished. So that's where I'm at as of tonight. Once all the metal work is done on the bed, probably not gonna start on the body work on it just yet. I'm probably gonna actually get the doors finished out and get the doors into paint first and install back on the truck, then the fenders, and then do the bed and the hood last. But that's the plan anyway, and well, you know me, I mean, I could change my mind tomorrow, but as it sits, that's gonna be the progression of the paint work for the truck. But anyway, that's what's going on. That's where we're at as of tonight. So thanks everyone for watching. As always, if you enjoy the channel, please like and subscribe. That always helps the channel grow. So until then, we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.